Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number 412 DPKL. This is an automatic door bottom that features a Pemko Prene insert in a dark bronze anodized finish. That's what the front side of it looks like. Here's the back side. Not that it really matters so much, but it's interesting to see the back side of the unit. Okay, so this is a surface-mounted door bottom is what this is. This is going to be used only in instances where you are surface mounting the unit. It is going to be appropriate for use in residential applications. It has this feature to the top of it, the 412, this nice curved return. Gives it a very nice finished look with the finished faceplate here. The 412 is representative of the type of unit this is in terms of it being surface mounted in this exact caliber and design, meaning it's standard duty in terms of caliber. The D stands for the dark bronze finish. It's available in a clear anodized finish and a gold finish as well. That'd be C or D or G. The PKL is a proprietary sort of synthetic silicone-like material used by Pemko for the seal. Okay, really nice durable sort of seal that's here. It's normal for it to run long. You'll trim that during your installation. This is used on typically on wood doors, is fire rated, air seal rated, and is handed. What makes this handed, and there is a requirement that you tell us the handing of the unit, and it's because this is not symmetrical. While this item can be surface mounted, you'll take note that this end of the automatic door bottom has this bolt. We're going to call it the plunger, and that the other side does not. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So that makes this handed. Okay, so you have to tell us the hand. There's a link below this video to a handing chart to help you determine what hand of unit you're doing. If you have any questions on how to hand the door, feel free to reach out to us. Don't hesitate. We don't want to get it wrong, is the bottom line. They're generally not returnable, things of that nature. Okay, so an automatic door bottom, what is it? Well, quite frankly, an automatic door bottom is an elegant way by which to seal the bottom of the door. An automatic door bottom does that automatically, meaning when you close the door, that seal is going to drop down and close off the bottom of the opening. Okay, it is only activated when the door is in the last few degrees of the closing cycle. Okay, making it beneficial to a lot of installations, meaning that if the seal is only making contact with the sill when it's closed, you're not dragging a door sweep across a floor, or maybe you have an obstacle on the inside of the doorway, like a rug, or children leave shoes in front of the door, and every time you open the door, you'll hit the shoe with the door sweep. An automatic door bottom, because it's only activated when the door's closed, it's tucked back up in the housing and is not something that you have to contend with. Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about another reason why it makes sense. So the side with the plunger, that is only and always the hinge side of the door. This gets installed on the hinge side of the door. So if you're looking at this door, at this opening, this door must only swing this way, with this being the hinge side. So from your perspective, it's a left-hand door. Okay? And indeed, this is a left-hand unit. This is the hinge side. This comes in contact with the frame, on the stop of the frame specifically. The other side is the lock side. Okay, that's always going to be on the end of the door, the side of the door that has the locks. When you install this item onto the face of the door, this plunger is going to be projecting out of the end. Okay, now we're getting into the installation aspect of this. The amount of projection of the plunger is directly related to the amount of drop that this unit can handle. Real quick, dimensionally, this item, it's 1.15 inches on this face, and then an overall, it's going to be closer to 2 1/8, 2 3/16. The projection of the unit is 9/16. Okay, to give you some dimensional properties. Now, When this is installed on the bottom of the door, and you're probably going to want to flush this off to the bottom of the door, or at least the aluminum channel. And there is a link below this video to the installation instructions, and they are indeed included with the unit itself. So you'll be able to review that prior to installation so that you can determine if you've got the proper item available. And speaking of that, a proper item that you've chosen to solve your problem, speaking of the proper item, Pemko is a comprehensive manufacturer of all things automatic door bottom related, and there's a link below this video to their manufacturer page where you can pull up their product catalog and view all of the automatic door bottoms. This is a surface mount. They make different types. Surface mount, semi-mortise, where it's similar to a surface mount, but it can be mortised flush to the edge of the door, and then a few different mortise types that get mortised into the bottom of the door or inserted into the bottom inverted channel of a hollow metal door. They have different qualities: light-duty material, medium-duty material, heavy-duty material, material made for specific purposes, like for lead-line doors, like for acoustically rated doors, for general sort of weather stripping situations. Now, an automatic door bottom is elegant because of the reasons mentioned earlier, where it's really only sealing when the door is closed, and does so in an automatic fashion so that you don't really have to think about it. But it helps compensate for a sill that's not level, or even maybe a door that's not plumb, because of how they work. Now, back to the projection of the plunger. The amount of projection on the plunger is directly related to the amount of drop. Okay, this unit is going to be able to handle drops of basically a zero of drop to 3/4 inch. How that happens is the amount of projection. When the door is closed, that plunger comes in contact with the stop of the frame, because you're installing this between the stops, only on the push side, of course. Well, when the door is pushed closed, that plunger has nowhere to go in. That plunger has nowhere to go but in, and as it goes in, it forces the bottom to drop as I push that in. Okay? So you can see how it drops there, and it does so in this predictable knife sort of fashion. And the reason that it does that is because I'll use my thumb to restrict the door bottom as if it's the sill, and as I restrict it, the rest of the side will come down evenly. So what's elegant about that is as that drops, it will contour itself to a sill that's not perfectly level. Door sweeps have a small amount of ability to compensate for that, but not nearly what an automatic door bottom does in terms of a sill being really out of level. You could have a condition by which you have an in-swing door, you have a sill on the exterior or where the door resides over, and you could have a finished floor on the inside. Okay? Well, let's say you had 1/2 inch of finished floor, and then the threshold outside, you had a significant gap. You could have an automatic door, let's say 1/2 inch. You could have an automatic door bottom installed on the push side of the door so that it drops that 1/2 inch, but as the door opens, it tucks itself back up into the housing to clear the inner floor surface. You could also have an exterior door that swings out. You could have a condition by which it's a shop, it's a metal door, you're using a surface mount like this. And in the summertime, there's no problem. But in the winter, when that door opens up, that concrete pad is swollen up ever so slightly, then your door hits. Or, to make your door not hit, you have to put your door sweep in such a way that you can account for all the change of the seasons of that concrete pad. Well, an automatic door bottom handles that flawlessly. So in that outswing application, this would be installed on the inside only because it must be on the push side. But will give you the ability to seal that door in a very good fashion. I would actually use the mortised type for that application if it's a hollow metal door, the inverted channel, which I believe is part number 420. 420 APKL would be a Pemko part number for that. So let's get to the installation instructions. But first, let's talk about how you're going to order this item in terms of the size. It's available on the website in several different lengths, probably everywhere from 24 inch to 72 inch. It would be very odd if there was a specific size listed in the site that was exactly what you needed. Here's what I mean. A surface mount automatic door bottom is again installed only on the push side of the door. The net length that you need the automatic door bottom to be, therefore, needs to reside on the push side of the door. Well, when you stand on the push side of the door and you measure the area of the door to install this on, you'll note that you've got to bring that up only to the stops. So if you had a wood frame with half-inch stop projection, let's say you had a 3-foot door, it's a bad example, but if you had a 36-inch door and the door was a net 36, your frame could be 36 and a quarter wide, your stops could be a half-inch, okay? So that would bring you down to, 35 and a quarter distance between the stops, measuring on the face of the door. You'd deduct about 1/8 of an inch for the door bottom because of that opening requirement. Maybe top at the most 1/8 of an inch. That would bring you to a net size possibly of 35 and 1/8. Now that example has nothing to do with what you need. You just measure the distance between the stops, deduct about 1/8. But that's the math by which we go about determining it. So you will certainly, in my opinion, want to order the item at that time to the proper net length. So you do so by ordering the next longest piece or pieces and indicate in the comment field what length you want the material shipped at. So in that example, 35 and 1/8, you'd order a 36-inch, type in the comment field, ship this at 35 and 1/8 inch. Then what that will get you will be an item shipped at the proper length. What that saves you is the time and trouble and the risk to damaging the unit of cutting this down yourself. Now, it could be a case that you don't have the ability to go to the site and measure all of them, but they're all 36-inch doors. Well, you're going to be able to order 36-inch units and then trim them. However, if the door unit is 36-inch long, your max trim is only 2-inch. So you need to be fairly close in terms of the order size to what the net size needs to be. And if your unit is smaller than 24-inch, you might have a pair of 2-foot French doors and you've got door bottoms sealing those off. You can only trim those 1/2 of an inch. So if by all means you can determine the net size you need, order it that way. Okay. Pemko is manufacturing this from long extrusions, all of these internal parts. 36 inches is just a random number in the sense of what they cut it to. So they might as well just make it to what you need. Now, how that automatic door bottom goes about working before we get back to the installation instructions. When I push the plunger in, that plunger is connected to a flat spring. And as you push the plunger in, that flat spring gets bowed. And here's the evidence of how that works. You can see that there's 2 sets of flat springs in there, and as I push the plunger in, it bows those flat springs. Well, that bottom has nowhere to go but down. And that's how that works. Okay? Very elegant. Of all of the advantages of automatic door bottoms, just because I thought of it at this moment, if there's one thing that has ever been mentioned to me about there being a disadvantage, is that clanking sound that you hear. If I've sold 10,000 of these, maybe more, one person has said, oh my gosh, I can't tolerate the sound. Acknowledged. And there are models that Pemko have that are different than this that will significantly reduce that sound of the drop bar mechanism coming back to its housing. Okay, so reach out to us if you want to discuss, but for me it's not an issue, but I mention it because I'm aware of the fact that it has been mentioned. Now, the installation instructions. Installing this sort of item, you're not going to need to remove the door at all. The installation instructions start with reversing the handing. Now, the handing is absolutely required, as we discussed earlier, for this unit, and this video will not talk about reversing the handing of it. If you need help reversing the handing, reach out to us, but it's unusual to have to reverse the handing, and not at all recommended by me that it be reversed in the field. But should you need to, the instructions are there. We stand by ready to assist, but this video won't cover it because it almost never needs to happen. What does need to happen is cutting it in the field. So jumping down, cut the automatic door bottom 1/8 of an inch less than the distance between the stops without trimming the gasketing. This gasketing is always going to be long. Don't trim that just yet. When cutting, make sure the drop bar is flush with the case on the plunger side. Do not trim the gasket yet. Then there are the notes in terms of the max trim. Step 2, adjust and trim the gasketing insert so that it fits fully into the case between the end plates without dragging. So they've jumped a step. What they're basically saying is, before you cut this, And you never cut the plunger side. Never, never. This is not the side you cut. There will be a sticker over that plunger that says, do not cut this end. You're going to make sure that the drop bar assembly is flush with the housing as it is now. That H that you see there, that's the drop bar assembly. Oh, got it restricted there. Okay, you're going to make sure that that is all flush. Then you will only cut this side. This screw that's on the back side here is evidence of the inner workings of this, and that's where that 2-inch dimension is going to come in. You're going to want to make sure that you have all of this held securely together, and you're going to very carefully cut that, trim it to the net length. That's how you go about doing it. Only the lock side of the door. When you get the item installed onto the door, 1/8 of an inch less, allow a 1/16 at either end. You're going to, you've got an end cap here. You've got only one end cap. Forgive me, there are 2 end caps in this package. They're just L angles that are held on to the face of the door with nails, and they basically just trim this off. You'll want to make sure that your gasketing is trimmed so that it fits inside of the end plate. Okay? Place the automatic door bottom so that the plunger contacts the stop. See figure 2. So this is always going to make contact with the face of the stop of the frame. There is a very short screw that's in the package that is right there, that is intended to be placed onto the wood frame at the exact location where the plunger makes contact. You don't want to create a divot in the frame over time. So when you have it placed, located, fasten with mounting screws provided. The actuation plunger should be located on the hinge side of the door. The bottom of the automatic door bottom case should be installed flush with the door bottom. So the extrusion here should be flush with the bottom of the door. I suppose you could tailor that a little bit should you have existing circumstances that require you to tweak that dimension. But you'll take note of that during your installation procedure. For wood jambs, a 10 by 1/2 inch flat screw is provided for the installation at the point where the plunger contacts the jamb to prevent indenting. Okay, we talked about that. Screw the actuating plunger in or out as required until the gasketing just touches the sealing surface when the door is closed. So, you've got it now installed on the door. It's attached. Take your screwdriver and turn that almost all the way in. Leave it hang out 1/8 of an inch at the most. Test your operation. Get down and look and see where this is hitting your sill. Is there a constant contact? Adjust as necessary. You don't want undue force on this door bottom, on the springs, pushing the door bottom down, because as soon as the door begins to open, you want that drop bar to be coming back up into the housing, because if it's not, as you open the door, that is going to be dragged across your sill, and it will damage the unit, is what it's going to do. All you want to do is have this seal on the threshold or the sill, whatever it is. That's also elegant because this Pemko Prene, because it's not being dragged across a surface, ought to last a very long time because it's just making contact, okay, is all it's doing. Not undue pressure. You don't want to damage the internal springs when you open the door. Adjustment range is 1/8 of an inch drop, basically 0 drop, to 3/4 inch. Start with the plunger screw put all the way in to avoid over adjustment or damage. Warning, do not over adjust the plunger. It is necessary to lightly compress the insert gaskets against the sealing surface to provide proper door sealing. Over adjustment can cause internal component failure, voiding the warranty. Do not use power tools to adjust this. You don't, just use a screwdriver. Don't use a drill. You'll tear that right out, very possibly. So this screw package has everything you need for the installation aspect. And I like automatic door bottoms because they last long, and they're durable, and they're smart, and they allow you to effectively seal off the opening. Pemko is a company that I'm partial to, and it's because of their comprehensive offering of weather stripping products. Not only a comprehensive offering of automatic door bottoms, but thresholds, perimeter gasketing, door sweeps, material made for commercial settings, but residential like this door bottom as well. But not only that, they have a comprehensive offering of sliding door hardware, pocket, bypass, bifold, track, and hangers. They have a comprehensive offering of steel vision frames for use in wood and metal doors. Great company because their people are responsive, they're professional, they're exceptional. Very good quality company that has everything from standard duty material all the way to heavy duty material. And very good lead times as well. If you have any questions on the Pemko 412 DPKL automatic door bottom or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.